Without a shadow of a doubt, it's the Cronkite Show in social media history. I want to welcome you to another episode of the War Zone. Every night, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Get on the phone and call somebody and tell them I am the 5-star general. I saw idiocy. I saw racism. I saw selfishness at today's HISD special school board meeting. And tonight I'm going to talk about it. Let's go. Say, man, I want to welcome you to another episode of the War Zone and tell you thank you for taking the time out to tune in. You know, without you good people, I would not have a show. So I want to personally thank you for taking time out to come and hang out with me every night. I'm here. I've been out and about most of the day because I had things to do. I finished my classes, and last night I had to cut it short because I got a real important phone call. But tonight we're going to dive deep into the Houston Independent School District School Board and the decision that they made today. Well, the non-decision that they made today. I get out here every day and I advocate for kids. I advocate for teachers, administrators. I advocate for school districts. And I don't look at anything except for what the kids may need or what the teachers may need. And I went to the school district today because I had to go to a special called board meeting in reference to a veterinarian clinic where kids could get their certification. I don't know exactly what the specialty was with the veterinarian clinic with the certification, but they could get certifications in this particular clinic. Well, the meeting was supposed to start at 4 p.m. And if you guys can, everybody push the share button on this video. The meeting was supposed to start at 4 p.m. So I normally get there early. I'm there early, so it's what it is. It's always the same thing. At 4 o'clock, the meeting didn't start. Okay, maybe they run it a few minutes late or something. 4:05, the meeting hadn't started. Now I'm getting frustrated because if we're not there on time, you know, it is what it is. So while the meeting is not started, you got 9 trustees. Only 4 of them are in the boardroom. Only 4 are in the boardroom. And that was Kendall Baker, Sue Dygard, Bridget Wade, and Judith Cruz. That means Danny Hernandez, Elizabeth Santos, Myrna Guidry, Kathy Buford Daniels, and Patricia Allen were not there. This is what I'm thinking. We'll come to find out at 4:15, the board president says that they're going to have to cancel the meeting because there's not a quorum of board members present to be able to vote on the action item, which was the veterinarian clinic. So I'm like, what the hell is going on, man? I mean, people had to drive over here, and now it's 4:15. We're going to have to get in that traffic and for a meeting that never happened. Come to find out, Danny Hernandez is out of town. Elizabeth Santos was a no-show. But according to what I understand, Patricia Allen, Kathy Buford Daniels, and Myrna Guidry were there, and they left. What the hell is really going on? How do you come to a board meeting and then you may think, well, this is not going to go in my favor, so I'm just going to leave? Sounds familiar, don't it? Texas state legislation last season wasn't going to go the way he jumped on a plane. Well, these just jumped in their cars. And the argument is that a school like Lamar, which has one of the bigger enrollments in the school district, and everything is enrollment based funding that we get. More kids you got, more money you get. Oh, they have everything. And at the last board meeting, this was brought up. This item was brought up for discussion. And Kathy Buford Daniels from District 2, that's 5th Ward, Cashmere Garden, Garden Oaks, all that stuff there, made us think about the kids at Lamar getting this vet clinic. Well, I got calls after that meeting. Monroe, what you think? I think that school board members should make common sense decisions. And I think that we got to take the politics out the boardroom, take the racism out the boardroom. And if this program can help kids get certifications, who cares where it's at? You have open enrollment. You can go to any school you want to go to. But I don't think that there was common sense used today when these trustees, whoever that may be, decided that either they were not going to come or they were going to come and then they would leave. There was no consideration for the audience members who spent gas money, traveled across town, because a lot of us don't even live close to that building. No consideration for that. To, basically have a show of force where we're not going to give this school anything. Well, you're not giving a school nothing. You're providing something for those children. See, I'm different than trustees that sit on the board because I don't see color when I see kids. I see a need. That's the way I would be if I sat on the board. And the question here tonight is, why do the Black students not have what they actually need in these schools? That is one of the biggest questions that you can ask. Why don't they have what they need in these schools? Well, one of the reasons that we don't have what we need in our schools is because we don't advocate for it. We don't go to war like the white folk do for their kids, and therefore our kids don't get nothing out the deal. Well, they still should. Yeah, they should. But if I'm wrong about the statement I just made, then that means that the white community advocates for the things that they want for their children. I've always said I can't be mad at what the affluent community gets for their children when our community won't stand up for nothing. So we're going to penalize 50 kids that could get their certification because we want to show a force. Each one of you trustees should be ashamed of yourselves. When you are going around and begging for votes, you're telling people that I'm going to advocate for every kid in HISD. When you know that's a lie. See, when I ran for the school board, I made it painfully obvious. I'm going to advocate for every single kid, but I was going to advocate for the least, the last, and the lost first. Now, there was no issue with the veterinarian clinic until somebody found out that the white folk was finna get one at their school. Nobody wanted a veterinarian clinic at the Black schools. They didn't advocate for it, not in the boardroom, and I didn't miss the meeting, so I know you didn't advocate for it. But what you do is you sit back and you complain about what you don't have on the school level. But yet you don't want to step out in front and put a target on your back to be able to get the things that these kids need. Here's my question. Can you get a CTE program in a school that doesn't have a lot of enrollment, in a school that's not performing well? Yes, you can. But if you don't ask for it, you're not going to get it. These board members clearly do not know what being a board member is. They have no clue of what it means to be an HISD trustee. Because what you did today was disrespectful to the kids of Lamar High School. What you did today was disrespectful to the people that took off work, that the people that left work early to be there. What you did today was disrespectful because you drew a line in the sand. Now, when you drew that line in the sand, there's repercussions for your actions. So what happens when one of your schools come up for closure? They just might remember what you did to them today. They just might remember what you did to them today. So what stops them from closing your schools now? See, I'm going to tell you, you don't think shit through. You run on your emotions. You're running on your emotions and you're not thinking things through. The dysfunction of the Houston Independent School District and their board goes back a many moon. It goes back a many moon. And the thing is this. You guys, hold on just a second. Hold on. Let me go up in here and let me see if I can. Let me see. I want to copy this link. I want to go over here. And I want to put this in a room that I'm in. Let's see if I can get it on here. Okay. So, if you're just tuning in, I'm talking about the board meeting, special call board meeting today in HISD, where board members needed to have discussions and vote on possibly putting a veterinarian clinic at Lamar High School. And hold on, you guys. Possibly putting a veterinarian clinic at Lamar High School. And you had a few trustees who were there that left. Let me tell y'all what's wrong. Well, some of the things, not everything, that's wrong with our low performing African American schools as it pertains to programs. And I'm gonna dig deep in this thing, and I'm gonna really, it'll probably make some people angry, but I'm not going to curse at all. I want to go back a little bit. And let's go back. One of our biggest problems in the African American community is we always need to be guided. We always seem to need to be guided. When we're elected officials, we have to listen to other people. Right now in the Houston Independent School District, the godmother, Carol Mims Galloway, who can't seem to take her hands off of the Houston Independent School District, is in the black trustees' ears, the superintendent's ears, telling them what they need to do. I'm going to give you an example. There was a teacher, special ed teacher, great teacher. Yeah, principal didn't, they wasn't getting along. So, principal tried to get rid of her, but tried to get rid of her the wrong way. Well, she immediately called the NAACP. This just happened. And they wanted her to resign in lieu of termination. She didn't have anything in her disciplinary folder. So when she spoke with the NAACP, she spoke to Bishop James Dixon, and he said he would do all he could to try and help her. But she spoke to former HISD trustee Carol Mim Galloway, who I think is on the board of the Houston chapter of the NAACP. And Mims Galloway told her there was nothing. First, she told her she could help her. She was going to talk to the superintendent. Nothing moved. Lady finna lose her job, her certification, everything, if she didn't resign in lieu of termination. So then I think maybe about a week later, Mims Galloway calls her back. Carol Mims Galloway, former HISD trustee, calls her back and told her, baby, there's nothing that you can do. You need to just let it go. The lady said, I didn't know what to do. And she said, I thought of you, Mr. Monroe. And she called. We talked about it. Now, this is a promise that I made when I was running for the board, that before I would sign off on somebody's resignation, or before I would agree to terminate somebody with my signature as a board member, that I wanted to know what was really going on. So when she told me what was going on, that basically she found a bunch of stuff that wasn't right, and she tried to deal with it with the administration, and then all of a sudden she became a target. She brought me on the team after Mims Galloway told her, there's nothing that you can do. You need to leave it alone. But the thing was, she told Miss Galloway, I'm thinking about calling Gary Monroe. Oh, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Oh, no, he don't know what he's doing. Don't do that. Now, the thing is, Miss Galloway, you don't know me like that. You don't know what I do. Well, not to belabor the point, and I'm not going to drag her, because I could like a Persian rug. I took her on as a client. And today we were able to sign her clear resignation letter. Not in lieu of termination. Clear, with a letter of recommendation. I think she already got a job lined up. But that's an example of Mims Galloway telling people that she got that stroke with that superintendent. See, our community wants to be ran by people who've had their opportunity. And right now, Ms. Galloway wants to be a big player in the Houston Independent School District. But I could have sworn Ms. Galloway, hold on, let's do some research on her. Let's do some research on her. Ms. Galloway was the first African-American woman to represent District 2 on the school board. And she served more than a decade. And I think she served her third term in 2007. So she was there with Ted Greer. When Ted Greer tried to do the Apollo program. Hold on a second. When Ted Greer did the Apollo program, fired a bunch of teachers and really screwed up our school district, Miss Mims Galloway was on the board when that happened. And now you're still holding on. So it doesn't surprise me when you have board members that are connected to her that will support plans that will not work because you're doing what she tells you to do. These are the people like Ms. Galloway that tell our community what's best for our children when it comes to quote unquote CTE programs. When I first got in the game, there was a health science program at Jackie A. Senior High School, my alma mater. The kids didn't like it. They wouldn't go to class. They didn't want to be in the class. They were transferring out. And I asked the principal, Demetrius Hill, at that time, why do we even have this course if the kids don't want it? He said, well, we got to have it. The district say we got to have it. But you're in a decentralized school district. You have total autonomy over how your campus is ran and what should be here. Me and Frank Joseph had a conversation with Ted Greer in the hallway of HISD one night. And Greer said, I didn't make nobody take no programs out those schools. I don't tell them what they can have in those schools. All they got to do is ask for it. Now, I don't trust Ted Greer as far as I can see. I don't trust him. I didn't trust him then, don't trust him now. But the thing is Miss Galloway was there with him. You are part of the problem with our school system being messed up. The only thing that saved the affluent side of town and the white side of town was they had parents and educators and administrators that were advocating based on what their children needed, not what the parent wanted. But these people on our side of town, you'll throw something like that in our school, then it's not funded properly. They don't have everything they need. But see, they help create a workforce in the United States of America as a whole that will have kids working menial jobs. So we need people like former HISD trustee Carol Mims Galloway to step away from HISD. This is not 2011, young lady. And your influence over your board member is screwing our school district up. So today, the African-American board members, minus Kendall Baker, decided they would show up for a board meeting and they would walk out the back door like the cowards that they are. This is what they did now. I want you to understand, this is what they did. They walked out like the cowards that they were. Let's start with Patricia Allen. Miss Allen has been on the board going into her third year, and she's never had a community meeting. I continuously ask her for, when are you going to have a community meeting? Whenever the community wants one. We've been wanting one. When are you going to have one? Miss Allen doesn't realistically know where all her schools are because she never visits them. But yet you can come and advocate for what our children supposedly need. How do you know what they need if you've never visited the schools? You've never spoken to the community. Kathy Buford Daniels, District 2. You get your marching orders from Mims Galloway. You get your marching orders from Mims Galloway. And so you're going to start up on Cashmere and everybody else, but we need more trade programs. Which ones? If you trustees can get on the phone and call community members and tell them to show up so that they don't have to support the kids at Lamar, then why don't you call those same ones and tell them to come into the boardroom and advocate for what our children need? But before you do that, why don't you go to the schools and find out what they're missing and what they actually need? You get your marching orders from Mims Galloway. And that in itself turns my stomach. I'm surprised that Myrna Guidry, if she was back there and she walked out. Myrna's been engaging with her community. Myrna has been, one of the more even keeled trustees. But today, you took an issue that should have been debated upon, and you turned it into a black versus white issue. And you penalized 50 children for no reason. You penalized them because our community does not want to show up in board meetings and advocate. You penalize them because our communities don't show up in the community to have meetings, to have rational discussions on what we need for our children. You penalized children today. How does that feel? But when you were running for the board, you said that you would represent every single child in HISD. So today you turned your back on some of those children. How do you do that? How do you do that and you sleep at night? How does that work? The reason that we don't have what we need for our children, one of the reasons, is because we don't really know what we want. We don't know what our children need. We don't know what they need because these trustees are not communicating with the community. And today you drew a line in the sand and you took the coward way out of walking out the back door. Let me make you aware of something. Patricia Allen, you're going to have a hard time winning your next election. Ms. Buford Daniels, you already have an opponent. Oh, yeah, I talked to them today. I didn't convince them. They already knew what they were going to do. What kind of game are y'all playing on that school board? Because the more that you guys and ladies on that school board go in there with your dysfunction and you show it to us that you're totally dysfunctional, you make it far more easier that if TEA can get around this lawsuit with HISD, you make it real easy for them to come in and take over the school district. I showed up today for that meeting. I am a parent advocate. I'm an education advocate. There are two things right now that I'm standing up for. I'm going to stand up for those kids at Lamar in their vet clinic. I'm going to support those kids because if it helps kids, then that's what we're supposed to do. I get a call last week about Bel Air. Man, what you going to do with the Bel Air situation if the kids walk out to school? I say, first of all, I believe in the Constitution of the United States. And I've also stood up for African-American kids. I stood up for Latino kids. So what would stop me from standing up with my Caucasian babies in Bel Air? I say, I don't care what they advocating for. If they exercising their constitutional right, then I'm going to always say what I say. I will show up if they walk out to make sure that they don't violate the law and the law don't violate them. I will stand with them. See, there's something inside of me that makes me sick of the racism that's in our school district. On the board of trustees, it is there. Now I'm over here I'm over here in a group, supporters of HISD magnets and budget accountability. That's a group that I'm in. Fabulous people over here, very opinionated, and I'm streaming live to their group. Very, very opinionated people that I've picked their brains 1,000 times on. They pick my brain. And you know why? Because if it's in the best interest of kids, we got to all figure out how we can work together. If you have a problem with not having enough CTE programming at your school, what is it that you want? What is it that you want? Well, we need auto mechanics. Well, guess what? When you were building a new school, if you didn't build it out in the new school design, that's not a realistic expectation. Now, if it's building our classrooms, that's totally different. If you want to do welding, you got to build this stuff out when they doing the construction. But see, we don't know that because we put people on the school board that don't have an inkling of a clue in their head sometimes. And I'm going to be honest with you, I've seen a lot of these boards these last 12 years. And this is one of the weakest school boards that I've ever seen in those 12 years. I'm gonna give you an example. I'm gonna put up a comment like Thunder said, great trade program would be HAVVAC. This is my issue. If you don't talk to the kids, what if they don't want to take HAVVAC? You have to talk to the children to find out what they want. It doesn't matter if it's a great program, but if nobody wants to take the course, then they're not going to take the course. I think it's a great program. I think if a school has a pool, and I bet y'all ain't think of this. I worked on a drilling rig for 12 years. And whenever that rig would move, they had to bring divers out there to dive down in the ocean and anchor that rig to the ocean floor. Well, how much did they make? Oh, they made $80 an hour from the time they left their house until the time they got back. Anything over 40 hours was time and a half. They got $160 per diem every single day. And every time they dove, which was about 4 times a day, they got $800 every time they dove down in that water. So if you have a pool at your school, let's see who would want to be a diver. Because what some of y'all are trying to make in a year, they make in a month. See, if you want programming in your schools, you have to know what the kids want. But see, our African-American trustees, they know everything. They know how to create equity. That wasn't an equitable decision today to walk out on those children. I don't care how mad I get on certain issues. Yeah, I'm a Yates line. I know a lot of my kids is going to Lamar. But if we're going to be great advocates, we just have to do the right thing some days. And today was a day to do the right thing and give those kids that vet clinic. But they couldn't let that happen. They decided they would get on their plane and run away to Washington, D.C. That's the equivalent of what you did today. So I'm going to tell you something. The same thing that make you laugh can make you cry. So when your schools come up for closure, those trustees may remember what you did today. So what are you going to do then? Because we definitely can't keep them all open. Yeah, I ain't never been on the Magnet supporter page with a live video, but I'm here tonight. So I'm telling you, there is no way that we can keep all these schools open. There's no way. So what are you going to do? Because we're not going to close any schools. You don't have a choice. And when I ran for the board, I made that obvious in my community as I was out campaigning, that we are going to have to get to that point. So what we need to do is prepare ourselves for that and be able to navigate those waters when the time comes. But what those trustees did today is they turned their backs on kids in HISD because they're from an affluent community. Well, guess what, lazy black person? Parents that don't want to go to PTO meetings or don't want to come on open house night. The reason our kids don't have nothing because we ain't did nothing to get them what they need. And you want to penalize the other kids because you got trustees that have community meetings with 5 of their friends, but don't invite the community. And then come back and tell the administration, oh, I spoke with the community. This is what they want. Like Miss Galloway was up there at the last meeting talking about this is what our communities want. No, baby, we ain't in your community. You on one side of the bridge, we on the other side. Don't speak for our community. Because I see my good friend Bobby W. Scott on here, Yates Line alumni. We know what we want at our school. And we don't need Carol Mims Galloway speaking for our children. Because you don't come there. You don't know what our kids need. See, these so-called Negro leaders that keep acting like they know exactly what to do are the ones that are destroying the very schools that they represent. I love the school systems. I love children. I love to see them thrive. But I would never cut a child off from an opportunity. I will never cut them off from having an opportunity to better themselves. And that's what happened today. We can get on the phone. We can call people. You need to zoom in. You need to be against this. You need to be for this. I don't need you to tell me what to do. And for y'all that call me with that foolishness, you don't get to yank my chain. I stand up for kids. So if those kids walk out of Bel Air tomorrow, who you think gonna be out there? I'll be out there with them. I'm gonna stand with them because they have every right to exercise their constitutional rights. When this thing comes up for another meeting, this vet clinic, I will be there in support of it because it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do. And we need to stop with the BS and the politics. See, we done brought too much politics into the boardroom. Too much politics into the boardroom. And now we're making decisions based on what? Those that walked out today, you're all Democrats. The Republicans wanted to give some kids some opportunities today. And the Democrats shut the door on those kids. Yeah, I'm bringing in the partisan politics into the game. I'm bringing it in because the truth needs to be told. The Democrats today closed the door of opportunity on 50 kids at Lamar High School. So don't be upset when those trustees close the doors of your schools. Mr. Monroe, are you going to fight for it? Nope. I stand for what's right. But I also believe in karma. I believe in karma. I believe that these children nowadays are the greatest generation that's ever been made. I believe some of them are a little challenged, but they're the greatest generation that has ever been made. But we have the wrong people that are guiding them. I had discussions with some union people that were very, very frustrated with the trustees last week. And you know what I told them? Ain't them the same ones that you put all your money behind? And now they sitting on the school board and they ain't listening to nothing you saying? What is it going to take for people to understand that we have to stop voting in our sorors and our frat brothers, and we need to find the best candidates? And I know a lot of y'all out there, like Monroe, you got a fly mouth, and you just say, ain't nobody sitting on that school board more knowledgeable than me. Ain't nobody sitting on the school board more rational than me. Nobody sitting on the school board has skin in the game like me. And guess what? I'll never run for school board again. I did it twice. I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to do it anymore. But see, we keep voting in these people based on their promises. I promise to do this. I promise to do that. So when you're out and you're trying to figure out who should I vote for, say on school board, and you got somebody running against an incumbent, the challenger should make the promises. The incumbent should be held to the standard. What work did they do while they were in office? These people can't close the achievement gap. I sit in the audience next to people more knowledgeable than some of these people sitting on that school board. These people don't know how to close the achievement gap. These people don't know how to create equity. They don't have a clue. But yet, they represent us. And we can't understand why everything is messed up. I know we have issues in the African American community with our schools. But you know, I'm a Yates Lion. You know why it don't bother me too much? Because for 96 years, we survived. We survived with the barest of the bare minimum. We know how to make it over there in Third Ward with what we got. And that school done pumped out more lawyers and teachers than a whole bunch of y'all. But see, some people, they got to have this, they got to have that. You have a music program at Phyllis Wheatley High School. I love Phyllis Wheatley. Ain't no Jack Yates without Phyllis Wheatley. That's how I feel. So when Wheatley was fighting to keep their doors open, this Jack Yates Lion was there, fighting right along with them, trying to keep them doors open on Phyllis Wheatley. Because there is no Jack Yates without Phyllis Wheatley. I don't care where they at. I don't care what they're going through. I am going to stand up for these children. But I think you guys need to keep, you need to keep a close watch on the Houston Independent School District Board of Trustees. Because it's time for a change. So some of y'all that's running, we're going to take care of you at the polls. I can guarantee you that next year. You won't sit in those seats again. And we're going to keep switching you out until we find the right ones. What happened today should never happen. It should have never happened. But yet they take their marching orders from somebody else. They take their marching orders from their pastors. They take their marching orders from their city council people. They take their marching orders from their state reps. And the question is why? We didn't vote them in to the school board. We voted you in. So I applaud my affluent white communities that have PTO meetings. I applaud my affluent white communities that will load that boardroom up when things are not going the way that they needed to go. I applaud the affluent white community for being at every single open house. I applaud you. And contrary to popular opinion, some of those people work 2 jobs too. So this thing, we can't be at a meeting because we work 2, 3 jobs. Those parents work just as many jobs, some of them. But their children become before anything else. That is not like that in our communities. So now we're at the mercy of these board members who getting paid under the table. I'm glad I'm streaming over to, the supporters of HISD Magnets, because I want to tell all of y'all, I've been telling y'all them people been getting paid under the table. Been getting paid under the table. And they still getting paid under the table. You need to watch all this district personnel that's leaving, that's reinventing themselves as nonprofits to come back in and get ESSER money. This is the game that they play. So if you want a CTE program in your school, advocate for it. If you want what that affluent white school has, get off your hands and advocate for it. But what you're not going to continue to do is penalize children because you don't want to do what you're supposed to do. Now, a lot of these programs don't run the way that they should. I got a level 3 grievance here, and I got to have in reference to the FFA program at Lamar. And I'm still sitting here saying that program should have been voted on today. I see Miss Maxine Lane Seals, master trustee, years and years of service. God bless her. You don't turn your back on children. And the one thing we're going to have to learn as we sit in these seats as politicians, some days you win, some days you lose. But you got to do everything right for those children on a daily basis. You have to do everything right for those children on a daily basis. I'm ashamed of what I know happened today. And I am going to support that program. Now, what I will say is I will support that program for a veterinarian clinic at Lamar. But now I'm going to start advocating for James Madison to get their FFA program in order and as well get them a vet clinic. That's how you play the game right there. But you don't stop kids from getting certifications. Did anybody think to ask, because Lamar is an affluent white school, supposedly, how many poor black kids are in the FFA program that could have benefited from this? You black trustees that walked out today, did you ask how many African American kids could have benefited from that program today? No, you didn't ask that. You didn't ask that because you're too busy playing politics. So I will support Lamar High School getting that FFA program. I will stand with those children from Bel Air if they decide to exercise their constitutional rights, because that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm not perfect, but I wake up every day trying to make a difference. And it is time, whether you're Republican or a Democrat, whether you're black, white, Latino, Asian, immigrant, whatever, to open your eyes, look at your representation, and if they are not doing the right things by the people, throw them away like a bag of trash. Vote them out of office. Get somebody in office that can get in there and do what they need to do. Today was a political game. And if you are the consummate politician, all you had to do was start lobbying before the meeting. Get you some people on your side. Start lobbying before the meeting. But no, we don't stop kids from getting certifications. Not at all. No, we shouldn't do that. So I love you guys. I love what I do. And that'll show you something. I lost school board races twice. And I just don't know how to stop working for these kids. Because that's what my heart is. If your heart is not in those kids, you will always find a reason to make the wrong decisions. You will. So guys, I'm not gonna hold you. I'm a little tired. I've been up since 6 o'clock this morning. I really want to eat and I want to go to bed. So for those that have been rocking with me, the semester is over. I'm sitting at about a 3.0 GPA. Just loaded up 5 more classes for the fall. And then I got 7 classes to get my bachelor's degree in criminal justice. For those that don't know the story, I was mentoring some kids and they told me I couldn't mentor them anymore unless I went and got my degree. So I basically started over from scratch in college. I'm 12 classes away from accomplishing the goal. I'm setting the example for them. I'm going to show them that they can do the same things if they go to college. I will stop what I'm doing and I will help a kid write a business plan in case he does not want to go to college and he wants to start his own business. This is what we all are supposed to be doing. This is what we're supposed to be doing. And if you're going to be a trustee in anybody's school district, you put the kids before politics. You put the kids before your personal issues. Those kids should come first every single time. Every single time. So that is the way that I feel. And I'm not going to change who I am. I'm disappointed in those people that walked out of there today and left those kids hanging. That's not what you do if you're a trustee. I'm sorry, but that's not what you do. But yeah, man, I'm almost done. I'm in them upper level core classes, so ain't no games, man. Ain't no games in them. So we got to bring it down. And we're going to bring it. I'm trying to graduate with honors, but my goal is to graduate with honors. But as long as I graduate, I'll be okay. But that GPA ain't coming below a 3.0. That's not going to happen. So you guys, I appreciate you taking the time out to listen to me. And I know I rant and I rave and I show up at school board meetings in costumes and I say a lot of stuff. But I can tell you this. You'll never understand why a man's feet hurt until you can walk in his shoes. You'll never understand my frustration and why I battle so hard unless you could do what I do on a daily basis. I need you to also, if you're in these districts, I need you to vote for Kathy Lynch Gunter, HCC trustee position 2. I need you to vote for Carmen Maria Montel, Texas, 18th Congressional District. And this is what I'm going to tell you. If I don't see your work, then I will endorse your opponent. Because you need to come up out of them seats. And black folk, we need better representation than what we have. Can't keep crying about what we don't have when we don't have nobody trying to go get it for us. You feel what I'm saying? It's a reason I'm the best in the business. Every night, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Get on the phone and call your people and tell them the great one is in the building. Who am I? I'm the 5-star general. Until tomorrow night. And Carmen Maria Montel, who's running against Sheila Jackson Lee, will be on the show tomorrow night. Until then, I'll holler at you.